Welcome, weary traveler, to a journey into the peculiar corners of the human mind, a realm where logic often takes a back seat to the bizarre, and the familiar becomes strangely unsettling. Tonight, we will not chase the elusive embrace of slumber with counting sheep or mundane meditations. Instead, we will lull your conscious mind into a state of serene surrender with a collection of the most unusual, counterintuitive, and utterly fascinating psychological facts. These are not just tidbits of information. They are whispers from the subconscious, strange echoes from the depths of our shared human experience, designed to gently untangle the knots of your waking thoughts and guide you towards the quietude of sleep. Imagine, if you will, that your mind is a vast, ancient library. Each fact we uncover is a dusty tome, pulled from a forgotten shelf, its pages filled with curious insights. As we turn these pages together, allow the rhythm of my voice and the strangeness of the revelations to become a hypnotic current, pulling you deeper into relaxation. There is no need to remember these facts, no test to pass, no judgment to fear. Simply allow them to drift through your awareness, like clouds across a twilight sky, carrying away the day's anxieties and ushering in the peace of the night. Let us begin our descent into the gentle madness of the mind, where the ordinary is extraordinary, and the extraordinary is just another facet of our bewildering existence. Prepare to be surprised, perhaps amused, and ultimately, to drift into a profound and restorative sleep. Fact 1. The Tetris Effect. Have you ever played a game or engaged in an activity for so long that you start seeing elements of it in your real life, even when you close your eyes? This is the Tetris Effect, or more broadly, game transfer phenomenon. Your brain continues to process the patterns and logic of the activity, even in your dreams, subtly reshaping your perception of reality. It's a testament to how deeply our experiences can embed themselves in our subconscious, even when we're trying to rest. Fact 2. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, frequency illusion. Once you learn about something new, you start seeing it everywhere. It's not that the thing suddenly appeared more often. Your brain is simply more attuned to noticing it. This illusion of increased frequency can make you feel like the universe is conspiring to show you this new information, when in reality, your reticular activating system is just doing its job, filtering for what it deems relevant. A gentle reminder that perception is not always reality. Fact 3. The Zeigarnik Effect. Unfinished tasks are more easily remembered than completed ones. Your mind holds onto the tension of the incomplete, urging you to finish. This is why cliffhangers are so effective, and why that nagging thought about an undone chore might keep you awake. But for now, let the unfinished tasks of your day gently recede, knowing your mind will hold them safely until morning. Fact 4. The Spotlight Effect. We tend to overestimate how much other people are paying attention to our appearance, behavior, and mistakes. Most people are too preoccupied with their own lives to notice your minor slip-ups. This illusion of being constantly scrutinized can be a source of anxiety. But tonight, let the spotlight dim. No one is watching, and you are free to simply be. Fact 5. The Dunning-Kruger Effect. Incompetent people often overestimate their own ability, while highly competent people tend to underestimate theirs. This cognitive bias means that those who know the least are often the most confident, and those who know the most are plagued by self-doubt. A humbling thought, perhaps, but one that can soothe the ego and allow for a more peaceful state. Fact 6. The Paradox of Choice. While having more options seems desirable, an excessive number of choices can lead to anxiety, indecision, and even dissatisfaction with the final decision. The burden of infinite possibilities can be heavier than the comfort of limited ones. Tonight, you have only one choice: to relax. Fact 7. The Mere Exposure Effect. We tend to develop a preference for things merely because we are familiar with them. The more often we are exposed to something, the more we like it. This is why repetition in advertising works, and why familiar faces bring comfort. Let the familiarity of these facts, and the sound of my voice, bring you comfort now. Fact 8. The Peak End Rule. We judge an experience largely based on how we felt at its peak, most intense point, and at its end, rather than the sum total or average of every moment of the experience. This means a bad ending can ruin an otherwise good experience, and a strong finish can redeem a mediocre one. Let the end of this session be a peaceful one. Fact 9. The von Riestorff effect, isolation effect. An item that stands out from a list of similar items is more likely to be remembered. This is why unique details catch our attention. But tonight, let all thoughts blend into a soft, indistinct hum. Fact 10. The Google effect, digital amnesia. We are less likely to remember information if we know we can easily look it up later online. Our brains are becoming external hard drives, relying on the internet for recall. A strange evolution, indeed, but one that frees your mind from the burden of remembering everything. Fact 11. The bystander effect. The more people who are present during an emergency, the less likely any one person is to help. The responsibility is diffused among the crowd. A sobering thought, but one that highlights the complexities of human behavior. For now, let go of all responsibilities. Fact 12. The placebo effect. Our belief in a treatment can sometimes be enough to cause a real physiological improvement, even if the treatment itself has no active ingredients. The power of expectation is immense. Believe in your ability to rest. Fact 13. The nocebo effect. The opposite of the placebo effect, where negative expectations about a treatment or situation can lead to negative outcomes or symptoms. Fear and anticipation can manifest physically. Release all negative expectations now. Fact 14. The misinformation effect. Eyewitness testimony can be easily influenced by information received after the event. Our memories are not perfect recordings but are reconstructive, and can be subtly altered by new input. A reminder that even our own past can be a fluid landscape. Fact 15. The false consensus effect. We tend to overestimate how much other people agree with our own opinions, beliefs, and behaviors. We assume our perspectives are more common than they actually are. A comforting illusion, perhaps, but one that can lead to misunderstandings. Tonight, there is no need for agreement, only peace. Fact 16. The self-serving bias. We tend to attribute positive events to our own character but negative events to external factors. We take credit for success and deflect blame for failure. A protective mechanism, but one that can distort reality. Let go of self-judgment. Fact 17. The halo effect. Our overall impression of a person, e.g., is good, influences our perception of their other traits, e.g., they are also intelligent or kind. This cognitive bias can lead to unfair judgments, both positive and negative. For now, let all judgments fade. Fact 18. The horns effect. The opposite of the halo effect, where a negative trait or impression of a person influences our perception of their other traits negatively. One bad quality can overshadow many good ones. Release the need to categorize. Fact 19. The endowment effect. We tend to value things more highly simply because we own them. The mere act of possession imbues an object with greater worth in our minds. A curious attachment, isn't it? Let go of all possessions in your mind. Fact 20. The sunk cost fallacy. We are more likely to continue investing in a failing endeavor if we have already invested a significant amount of time, money, or effort into it, even if it's irrational to do so. The past investment becomes a trap. Release the past, embrace the present. Fact 21. The anchoring effect. Our decisions are often heavily influenced by the first piece of information we encounter, the anchor, even if that information is irrelevant. This bias can subtly steer our judgments. Let your mind drift free from anchors. Fact 22. The confirmation bias. We tend to seek out, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms our existing beliefs, while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This makes it difficult to change our minds, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. A stubborn aspect of the human psyche, now gently fading. Fact 23. The backfire effect. When people are presented with evidence that contradicts their beliefs, they sometimes end up believing even more strongly in their original position. Challenging deeply held beliefs can paradoxically strengthen them. Let all resistance dissolve. Fact 24. The illusion of control. We tend to overestimate our degree of control over external events, especially when we have little to none. This can lead to superstitious behaviors or a false sense of security. Release the need to control and simply be. Fact 25. The availability heuristic. We tend to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled from memory, often because they are vivid or recent. This is why sensational news stories can make us fear rare events more than common ones. Let your thoughts become soft and indistinct. Fact 26. The framing effect. How information is presented or framed can significantly influence our decisions and judgments, even if the underlying facts are the same. The same situation can feel entirely different depending on its framing. Let all frames melt away. Fact 27. The gambler's fallacy. The mistaken belief that past events influence future independent events. For example, after a series of coin flips landing on heads, believing that tails is due, the universe has no memory of past coin flips. Let go of expectations. Fact 28. The just world hypothesis. The belief that the world is a fair and just place, and that people get what they deserve. This can lead to victim blaming and a reluctance to acknowledge the role of chance and injustice in life. A comforting but often cruel illusion. Release the need for fairness and embrace what is. Fact 29. The Ben Franklin effect. We tend to like someone more after we have done them a favor. Our minds rationalize that we must like the person to have helped them. A strange but powerful quirk of cognitive dissonance. Let all social calculations cease. Fact 30. The pratfall effect. We tend to find people more likable after they have made a mistake or shown a moment of vulnerability, as it makes them seem more human and relatable. Perfection can be intimidating. Embrace your imperfections. Fact 31. The reciprocity norm. We feel a strong social obligation to return favors and kindnesses shown to us. This is a powerful social glue, but can also be exploited. For now, there is nothing to return, only to receive rest. Fact 32. The foot in the door technique. People are more likely to agree to a large request if they have first agreed to a smaller one. A gradual escalation of commitment can be a powerful tool of persuasion. Let go of all commitments. Fact 33. The door in the face technique. People are more likely to agree to a smaller request after they have first refused a larger one. The smaller request seems more reasonable in comparison. A curious dance of social negotiation. Let all negotiations cease. Fact 34. The scarcity heuristic. We tend to value things more when they are perceived as rare or limited. The fear of missing out can drive us to want things we don't even need. There is no scarcity of rest, only abundance. Fact 35. The cheerleader effect, group attractiveness effect. Individuals are often perceived as more attractive when they are in a group than when they are seen alone. The group average seems to smooth out individual imperfections. A strange visual illusion. Let all perceptions soften. Fact 36. The rhyme as reason effect. We are more likely to believe a statement if it rhymes. The aesthetic quality of the rhyme can be mistaken for truthfulness. A curious trick of the mind. Let all words lose their power. Fact 37. The illusory truth effect. We are more likely to believe a statement is true if we have heard it repeated multiple times, regardless of its actual validity. Repetition can create a sense of familiarity that is mistaken for truth. Let all truths become indistinct. Fact 38. The sleeper effect. A message from a low credibility source can become more persuasive over time, as we forget the source but remember the message. The message sleeps in our minds, waiting to awaken with newfound influence. Let all messages sleep now. Fact 39. The spacing effect. We are better at remembering information if we learn it in spaced-out intervals rather than cramming it all at once. The mind needs time to consolidate memories. Allow your mind to consolidate its rest. Fact 40. The testing effect. The act of retrieving information from memory, i.e., taking a test, strengthens the memory more than simply rereading the information. The struggle to recall is a powerful learning tool. Let go of all struggle. Fact 41. The levels of processing effect. We remember information better when we process it more deeply, e.g., by thinking about its meaning, than when we process it superficially, e.g., by looking at its font. The depth of engagement matters. Disengage now and drift. Fact 42. The self-reference effect. We are more likely to remember information if we can relate it to ourselves. The self is a powerful mnemonic device. Let go of the self and simply be. Fact 43. The generation effect. We are more likely to remember information that we have generated ourselves, e.g., by summarizing it in our own words, than information that we have simply read. The act of creation is a powerful memory aid. Let go of all creation. Fact 44. The picture superiority effect. We are better at remembering information presented as pictures than as words. The visual system is a powerful memory channel. Let all images fade to black. Fact 45. The bizarreness effect. We are more likely to remember bizarre or unusual information than common or mundane information. The strange and unexpected captures our attention. Let all strangeness become familiar. Fact 46. The humor effect. We are more likely to remember information that is presented in a humorous way. Laughter is a powerful memory enhancer. Let all humor dissolve into a gentle smile. Fact 47. The negativity bias. We tend to pay more attention to and be more affected by negative information and experiences than positive ones. The brain is wired to be vigilant for threats. Let all vigilance cease. Fact 48. The Pollyanna principle. We tend to remember pleasant items more accurately than unpleasant ones. The mind has a subtle bias towards the positive in memory, even with the negativity bias in attention. A curious contradiction. Let all memories blend together. Fact 49. The fading effect bias. The emotions associated with negative memories tend to fade faster than the emotions associated with positive memories. The mind has a built-in mechanism for healing. Allow your mind to heal now. Fact 50. The rosy retrospection. We tend to remember past events more fondly than they were in reality. The mind often edits our memories to create a more positive narrative of the past. A gentle form of self-deception. Let the past be a soft, warm glow. Fact 51. The declinism. The belief that a society or institution is in decline. This bias is often fueled by rosy retrospection and a negativity bias towards the present. A common but often inaccurate perception. Let go of all narratives. Fact 52. The hindsight bias, I knew it all along phenomenon. After an event has occurred, we tend to see it as having been predictable, even if there was no objective basis for predicting it. The past seems more orderly than it was. Let go of the need to understand. Fact 53. The outcome bias. We tend to judge a decision based on its outcome, rather than on the quality of the decision-making process at the time. A good decision can have a bad outcome and vice versa. Release the need for judgment. Fact 54. The planning fallacy. We tend to underestimate the time it will take to complete a future task, even when we have experience with similar tasks taking longer. Our optimism often outweighs our experience. Let go of all plans. Fact 55. The pro-innovation bias. We tend to have an excessive optimism towards an invention or innovation, while underestimating its limitations and potential negative consequences. The new and shiny can be blinding. Let go of all novelty. Fact 56. The system justification. The tendency to defend and bolster the status quo, even when it is disadvantageous to oneself. We have a deep-seated need to believe that the systems we live in are just and legitimate. Let go of all systems. Fact 57. The in-group favoritism. We tend to favor members of our own group over members of other groups. This bias can be based on any group identity, from nationality to sports team affiliation. Let all group boundaries dissolve. Fact 58. The outgroup homogeneity effect. We tend to perceive members of other groups as being more similar to each other than members of our own group are. They are all alike, while we are all unique. A common but inaccurate perception. Let all distinctions fade. Fact 59. The cross-race effect. We are better at recognizing faces of our own race than faces of other races. This is a result of our perceptual expertise, not necessarily prejudice. A curious quirk of facial recognition. Let all faces become indistinct. Fact 60. The ultimate attribution error. We tend to make internal attributions for the negative behavior of outgroup members and external attributions for their positive behavior. The opposite is true for in-group members. a powerful and often destructive bias. Let all attributions cease. Fact 61. The belief in a just world. A cognitive bias that the world is fair and people get what they deserve. This can lead to blaming the victim and a lack of empathy for those who suffer. A comforting but often cruel illusion. Let go of the need for justice and embrace what is. Fact 62. The empathy gap. We tend to underestimate the influence of visceral drives, like hunger, pain, or sexual arousal, on our own and others' behavior. It's hard to imagine how powerful these drives are when we are not experiencing them. A failure of imagination. Let all drives be still. Fact 63. The Abilene Paradox. A group of people can collectively decide on a course of action that is counter to the preferences of any of the individuals in the group. This is often due to a failure to communicate individual desires and a fear of rocking the boat. A strange form of collective self-deception. Let all paradoxes resolve into silence. Fact 64. The groupthink. The desire for harmony or conformity in a group can result in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. The need to belong can override the need to be right. Let all groups dissolve. Fact 65. The shared information bias. Groups tend to spend more time discussing information that all members already know, rather than information that only a few members know. This can lead to poor decision-making, as unique and important information is often overlooked. A strange inefficiency of group dynamics. Let all information become a gentle hum. Fact 66. The illusion of asymmetric insight. We tend to believe that our knowledge of others surpasses their knowledge of us. We feel we can see through them, but they cannot see through us. A common but often inaccurate perception. Let all insights fade. Fact 67. The extrinsic incentives bias. We tend to attribute others' motivations more to extrinsic factors, like money or rewards, and our own motivations more to intrinsic factors, like passion or interest. We see ourselves as more noble than others. A subtle form of self-aggrandizement. Let all motivations be still. Fact 68. The curse of knowledge. When we know something, it is difficult to imagine what it's like not to know it. This can make it hard to communicate with and teach others. A common challenge for experts. Let all knowledge be forgotten. Fact 69. The illusion of transparency. We tend to overestimate the extent to which our own mental state is known to others. We feel like our thoughts and emotions are leaking out, when in reality, they are often opaque. A comforting but often inaccurate perception. Let all transparency become a soft, gentle fog. Fact 70. The Forer effect, Barnum effect. We tend to accept vague and general personality descriptions as being uniquely applicable to ourselves, without realizing that they could apply to almost anyone. This is the principle behind horoscopes and fortune-telling, a testament to our desire to be understood. Let all descriptions fade. Fact 71. The third-person effect. We tend to believe that mass media messages have a greater effect on others than on ourselves. We see ourselves as less susceptible to persuasion than our peers. A common but often inaccurate perception. Let all effects be still. Fact 72. The fundamental attribution error. We tend to overemphasize dispositional or personality-based explanations for others' behavior, while underemphasizing situational explanations. We see people's actions as a reflection of their character, rather than their circumstances. A powerful and often unfair bias. Let all attributions cease. Fact 73. The actor-observer bias. A reversal of the fundamental attribution error, where we tend to attribute our own actions to situational factors, while attributing others' actions to their disposition. We have excuses for ourselves, but judgments for others. A common double standard. Let all judgments fade. Fact 74. The defensive attribution hypothesis. We are more likely to attribute blame to a victim of a crime or accident if the victim is similar to us. This is a way of distancing ourselves from the possibility that the same thing could happen to us. A strange and often cruel defense mechanism. Let all defenses rest. Fact 75. The moral luck. The tendency to assign moral blame or credit to an agent for an event or its outcome, even if the agent did not have full control over either. The outcome of an action can color our moral judgment of the action itself. a tricky aspect of moral psychology. Let all morality be still. Fact 76. The authority bias. We have a tendency to attribute greater accuracy and value to the opinion of an authority figure, regardless of the content of the opinion. We are easily swayed by titles and uniforms, a powerful and often dangerous bias. Let all authority fade. Fact 77. The automation bias. The tendency to excessively depend on automated systems, which can lead to errors when the automated system makes a mistake. We trust machines more than we should. A modern dilemma. Let all systems rest. Fact 78. The bandwagon effect. The tendency to do or believe things because many other people do or believe the same. The pull of conformity can be powerful. Let all trends dissolve. Fact 79. The courtesy bias. The tendency to give an opinion that is more socially correct than one's true opinion, in order to avoid offending anyone. A common feature of polite society. Let all politeness be still. Fact 80. The deference to authority. A specific form of the authority bias, where we are more likely to obey the commands of an authority figure, even if those commands are morally questionable. The Milgram experiment is a chilling example of this. A dark aspect of human nature. Let all commands cease. Fact 81. The Dunning-Kruger effect revisited. The less you know, the more you think you know. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. A paradox of knowledge that can be both humbling and liberating. Let all knowledge be a gentle hum. Fact 82. The egocentric bias. The tendency to rely too heavily on one's own perspective and have a higher opinion of oneself than reality. We are the heroes of our own stories, a natural but often distorting bias. Let all stories fade. Fact 83. The Forer effect revisited. We are suckers for flattery, especially when it's vague enough to be true of almost anyone. The desire to be seen and understood can make us vulnerable to manipulation, a testament to our social nature. Let all flattery be still. Fact 84. The gambler's fallacy revisited. The belief that a random event is more or less likely to happen based on the results of a previous event or series of events. The universe has no memory. Let all predictions cease. Fact 85. The halo effect revisited. If someone is good at one thing, we tend to believe they are good at other things too. A beautiful person is also seen as more intelligent, kind, and trustworthy. A powerful and often misleading bias. Let all halos dim. Fact 86. The hard-easy effect. We tend to be overconfident on easy problems and underconfident on hard problems. Our confidence is not always well-calibrated to reality. A curious quirk of self-assessment. Let all confidence be still. Fact 87. The IKEA effect. We place a disproportionately high value on products we partially created. The effort we invest in something makes it more valuable to us. A testament to the power of creation. Let all creations rest. Fact 88. The illusion of explanatory depth. We often believe we understand complex phenomena with much greater precision, coherence, and depth than we actually do. We are often unaware of our own ignorance. A humbling thought. Let all explanations fade. Fact 89. The illusory superiority. The tendency to overestimate one's own qualities and abilities in relation to the same qualities and abilities of other people. Most people think they are above average. A statistical impossibility, but a psychological reality. Let all comparisons cease. Fact 90. The impact bias. We tend to overestimate the intensity and duration of our emotional reactions to future events. We think we will be happier or sadder for longer than we actually will be. Our emotional forecasting is often inaccurate. Let all forecasts be still. Fact 91. The information bias. The tendency to seek information even when it cannot affect action. We have a hunger for knowledge, even when it's useless. A curious aspect of our inquisitive nature. Let all information be a gentle hum. Fact 92. The interoceptive bias. The tendency to judge our own emotions as being more intense than others. We feel our own pain more acutely than we can imagine the pain of others. A natural but often isolating bias. Let all sensations soften. Fact 93. The law of the instrument. and over-reliance on a familiar tool. As Abraham Maslow said, "I suppose it is tempting, if the only tool you have is a hammer, to treat everything as if it were a nail." A common trap for experts. Let all tools be put down. Fact 94, the less is better effect. A preference for a smaller, more valuable option over a larger, less valuable one, even if the larger option is objectively better. Quality can sometimes trump quantity in our minds, a curious aspect of our value judgments. Let all judgments fade. Fact 95, the liking bias. We are more likely to agree with people we like. The social bond can be more persuasive than the quality of the argument, a testament to our social nature. Let all liking be still. Fact 96, the mere exposure effect, revisited. The more you see something, the more you like it. Familiarity breeds contentment. Let all things become familiar and comforting. Fact 97, the moral credential effect. The tendency to be more likely to act immorally after having first acted morally. A good deed can give us a license to be bad. A strange and often unconscious moral calculation. Let all morality be still. Fact 98, the naive cynicism. The tendency to expect others to be more egocentrically biased than they actually are. We often have a cynical view of others' intentions, a common but often inaccurate perception. Let all cynicism fade. Fact 99, the naive realism. The belief that we see the world objectively and that people who disagree with us must be uninformed, irrational, or biased. A powerful and often dangerous illusion. Let all realities blend together. Fact 100, the omission bias. The tendency to judge harmful actions as worse or less moral than equally harmful omissions in actions. We see doing harm as worse than allowing harm to happen. A subtle but important distinction in our moral grammar. Let all actions and inactions be still. Fact 101, the ostrich effect. The tendency to ignore an obvious negative situation. We bury our heads in the sand to avoid unpleasant information. A common but often counterproductive coping mechanism. Let all avoidance cease. Fact 102, the overconfidence effect. The tendency to have excessive confidence in one's own answers to questions. We are often more certain than we are correct. A common and often dangerous bias. Let all certainty dissolve into a gentle hum. Fact 103, the Peltzman effect. The tendency to engage in riskier behavior when safety measures are introduced. We compensate for the increased safety by taking more risks. A strange and often counterintuitive aspect of human behavior. Let all risks be still. Fact 104, the pseudo-certainty effect. The tendency to make risk-averse choices if the expected outcome is positive, but make risk-seeking choices to avoid negative outcomes. We are more willing to gamble to avoid a loss than to achieve a gain. A key insight of prospect theory. Let all choices be still. Fact 105, the reactance. The urge to do the opposite of what someone wants you to do out of a need to resist a perceived attempt to constrain your freedom of choice. The rebellious streak in all of us. Let all resistance cease. Fact 106, the restraint bias. The tendency to overestimate one's ability to control impulsive behavior. We are often less in control of ourselves than we think we are. A humbling thought. Let all impulses be still. Fact 107, the risk compensation. The tendency to adjust our behavior depending on the perceived level of risk. We drive faster when wearing a seatbelt. A strange and often unconscious calculation. Let all compensation cease. Fact 108, the selective perception. The tendency to allow our expectations to affect how we perceive the world. We see what we expect to see, a powerful and often distorting bias. Let all perceptions soften. Fact 109, the Semmelweis reflex. The tendency to reject new evidence that contradicts a paradigm. We are often resistant to new ideas that challenge our established beliefs. A common obstacle to scientific progress. Let all reflexes be still. Fact 110, the social comparison bias. The tendency to have a dislike and competitiveness with someone who is physically or mentally better than us. We often feel threatened by those who outshine us. A common but often destructive emotion. Let all comparisons cease. Fact 111. The social desirability bias. The tendency to overreport socially desirable characteristics or behaviors in oneself and underreport socially undesirable characteristics or behaviors. We want to be seen in a positive light. A common feature of self-report surveys. Let all desires be still. Fact 112. The status quo bias. The tendency to prefer that things stay the same. We are often resistant to change, even when it is for the better. A common and often powerful bias. Let all things be still. Fact 113. The stereotyping. The tendency to expect a member of a group to have certain characteristics without having actual information about that individual. A cognitive shortcut that can be both useful and harmful. Let all stereotypes dissolve. Fact 114. The subadditivity effect. The tendency to judge the probability of the whole to be less than the probabilities of the parts. Our intuition about probability is often flawed. A curious quirk of our mathematical minds. Let all probabilities be still. Fact 115. The subjective validation. The tendency to perceive something as true if a subject's belief demands it to be true. We can convince ourselves of almost anything if we want to believe it badly enough. A testament to the power of belief. Let all validation cease. Fact 116. The survivorship bias. The tendency to focus on the people or things that survived some process and inadvertently overlooking those that did not because of their lack of visibility. This can lead to overly optimistic beliefs because failures are ignored. A common error in business and history. Let all biases fade. Fact 117. The time-saving bias. The tendency to misestimate the time that could be saved or lost when increasing or decreasing in speed. We are often poor judges of the relationship between speed and time. A curious quirk of our temporal perception. Let all time be still. Fact 118. The unit bias. The tendency to want to finish a given unit of a task or item. We feel a sense of completion when we finish a plate of food, even if we are already full. A powerful and often unconscious drive. Let all units dissolve. Fact 119. The well-traveled road effect. The tendency to overestimate the time it takes to travel a familiar route and underestimate the time it takes to travel a new route. Familiarity can distort our perception of time. A curious quirk of our internal clocks. Let all roads blend together. Fact 120. The zero-risk bias. The preference for reducing a small risk to zero over a greater reduction in a larger risk. We are drawn to the certainty of eliminating a risk completely, even if it's not the most rational choice. A powerful and often irrational preference. Let all risks be still. Fact 121. The zero-sum bias. The tendency to see situations as zero-sum, where one person's gain is another's loss, even when they are not. This can lead to unnecessary competition and conflict. A common but often inaccurate perception. Let all sums be still.